Hey everybody, just gonna start off by saying this is the very first time we're doing this. A little series I'm gonna call Card Show Car Conversations. Just me on the way to a card show. Today I am not doing any kind of vending. I will just be walking through as a buyer, just kind of trying to see what I can find, to check the prices on what people are currently doing, what the hot cards are. I got a few things that I want to trade in to a couple tables. They're mainly like sports memorabilia and some comic books. The reason why I'm doing that is because we're moving and I'm finding these things that I didn't know I had. So I figured, why not? I have a show next week, and then I'm going to vend that, and that money that I'm going to get today will go towards building up the inventory for next weekend and for also to have money for buying at the next show. So the first thing I want to talk about is, as a buyer going to a show, it's best to always have cash with you. And I understand that some people may not be able to go to a bank right away, or maybe their bank doesn't have like a physical place, and they go to an ATM, then they have to pay the fee. It's like $3 or $4, and they're losing out. So they figure may as well just do a Venmo or PayPal or Cash App, and that's fine too, right? But most vendors are willing to work with you on a price if you tell them that you have cash. And I'll tell you, I do that with experience. Where if I'm taking in cards from somebody and they're like, well, actually, I want to do a trade and I'll give you cash on top, I'm more willing to kind of work with them on the percentage that I'm trying to do a trade with them at. And oftentimes I'll give them a little bit of wiggle room. So they'll say, what if, your sticker price is $25? What if I give you 20? And I might say yes, I might say no. It just depends on what I'm already in for that card. But most vendors are willing to just be like, okay, how about 23? You know, um, cash allows you to have that freedom where you're willing to make a little bit better of a deal. So, in my opinion, if you're going to be a buyer at a show, bring cash to buy cards. Uh, Another good way to go into a show where, let's say you set yourself a budget of, $100. I feel like that's pretty reasonable, especially if you're just the average goer. If you're not a high value seeking, you know, slab person, that's totally fine. You can go into a show with a budget of $100 and come out with some cards that you probably really want. But let's say you go into a show with $100 and you've got 4 or 5 cards that you're okay with parting, whether they are duplicates from your personal collection or they are just cards that you're okay with getting rid of, but you're going to take a little bit of a hit at a percentage, whether it be 80, 85. Um, don't be afraid to say no if someone says, hey, 70 or 75. Okay? You can say no. It's okay. You will not offend them. You will not make them angry with you. As long as you're respectful when you say no, you'll be fine. So if you've got $100 budget and let's say 5 cards and they total with checking comps for TCG Player or whatever app you're trying to do, that's another $100. And at 80%, you're going to get $80 cash or Venmo or however they want to pay you. So now your budget is $180. You almost doubled it, and all you did was spend your $100 cash, and then you've got some extra cards that you're okay with getting rid of. Now you're really going to have a good time, right? You know you can get the cards you want to get because you know you have a budget, brought some extra cards. So that'd be the second thing is set a budget and maybe bring some extra cards that you're okay with getting rid of. The third thing, and I kind of already mentioned it, is don't be afraid to say no if you offer your cards to them and they say, I want to do 70%, or they have a comp that you don't agree with because you did the research beforehand, always do it beforehand, and you know your comps are solid at $100 for those 5 cards. And they come at you and say, well, I'm going to comp it at 85, and then I'll give you the $73 or something like that for the 80%. It's okay to tell a vendor, hey, this is where I'm getting this information from. I'm getting it from TCG Player. The last 5 sold. I kind of did an average. This is where I'm at for comps. If you can't make that, that's fine. I'll just look around. 9 times out of 10, you're going to get a vendor who is either new and they're just trying to feel out how best they can price things, or you're getting a more seasoned vendor who maybe has a way of pigeonholing the prices. And when I say pigeonholing the prices, I mean they pull up a listing on TCG Player for a card, and they see three in like the last day or two that have $20 or something like that for a cost. But then they see a really low one on that fourth day for $11. And then it goes back up to $20 the next day. They're going to look at that $11 and go, that's my ticket in. I'm going to try and get some money off this to make myself a little bit better. And I can just say, hey, it's TCG Player. That's kind of red flag behavior. If you're an honest vendor, stop doing that. Or if you're a dishonest vendor, stop doing that. I get why you're doing it, but that's not helping anybody out, and it's not going to help you out in the long run. So let's practice some good comp behavior, and don't add that 11 in. You can average, and you can say, hey, look, I'm just going to average this $20 and the $11, and we're going to meet in the middle and call it 16. And if the person you're trying to get that card from says yes, that's cool. But if not, don't worry about it. Back to being the buyer, right? You did your comps. You know that 11 is an outlier. Stick with the 20, right? You are not in the wrong for sticking to your guns on what you believe is the right comp, and that $11 or that low comp is an outlier. Don't be afraid to stick to it. So right there, the three things that I could give as my best advice to you as you're going into a show, right? So the first thing we talked about is bring cash, right? Don't be afraid to have other things, but cash is always better. Number two, have a budget and maybe bring some extra cards to bolster that budget a little bit. And then number three is know your comps ahead of time and don't be afraid to stick to them and walk away if you need to walk away. There's nothing wrong with that. That vendor will see plenty of people throughout the day. You are not going to ruin their life by saying, no, I will not take a 70% cut. Okay? And as always, the last thing, and I know I said I'd do three, but let's go ahead and add a fourth one. You're there to have fun. Yes, you're there to have a time to look for the cards you're looking for, but this is the place where you get to spread your joy and your happiness of this hobby with other people. They're there for the exact same reason you are. Talk to somebody. Have a conversation. Enjoy your hobby instead of being inside and not talking to people about it. I used to be that way, where I would just sit there and I would enjoy my hobby by myself, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I promise you, it is way more enjoyable if you can sit there and talk to somebody about your hobby. It's one of the reasons why I became a vendor, is because the conversations I get to have with people about what I enjoy is way better than making any kind of money. And there really isn't a whole lot of money to be made when you're starting out as a vendor. I go to help people get what they want with their cards, for me to have fun and talk to people about things that I love. And then the third thing is, yes, maybe to make a little bit of money so I can build my personal collection, because it's hard out here. These scalpers are crazy. Good luck getting anything online. And this is the only way that I can find things that I want to have reliably. So why not do it? All right, so that fourth thing, go ahead and have fun. All right. Talk to you guys for the next show, which I will actually be vending at the Independence Mall at Wilmington, North Carolina, July 18th and 19th. So if you're in the area, you want to stop out, check out my table with Immortal Objects. I promise you we will have something that you want. And I know I'm going to be really heavy on the Gym Challenge and Gym Heroes cards from the early vintage set. All right, see you there. All right, guys, just got done with the card show at the Elks Lodge in Wilmington, and I feel like I did pretty good. Shout out to Collector's Clinic. He hooked me up with some cards I was looking for. I have a friend whose daughter is trying to get into actually learning how to play the game, and her favorite Pokemon is Scorbunny. So I am making her a deck, and he was able to help me out also with this. But also some random trainer cards that I just didn't have in my bulk. So he was really good. So if you guys see him, make sure you guys look him up. He does a lot of like 3D printed things too, but he's getting into the card vending business. So hit him up, see what you guys need, and maybe he has it. I was also able to get some better cards for that deck just because I feel like the regular cards they're kind of boring. So if I can spice it up with some like full arts and you know, some EXs, I think that'll be really nice, and it'll be a good time for her, so she can learn how to play and enjoy the deck. I picked this up for a personal collection. I think that these, like the Japanese wording going across is sick. I love all the cards that do this, like the attack rares. I love these, so I pick them up at least one every show. I also picked up 2 Gyarados cards for my Gyarados Master set, so that's been fun. I usually get weird looks like, wow, you're trying to do that? Yeah, I know. Trust me, I know. I also picked up a ton of really low-end slabs, right? Like 8s, 9s, 8.5. Every show I go to, or if I try to buy like collections from people, I will get low-end slabs, because I give them away to kids at shows. A lot of times these kids go up to these booths and they only have, you know, $200, $300, $7,000 value slabs, and these kids see them and they want them. They can't have them. And so what I want to do is create a good memory for them and get them something that they normally wouldn't be able to get for free. What they do with it is what they choose, right? If they want to take it and sell it, whatever, they're $15 or less. And a lot of vendors here at this show, when I told them this is what I was doing, I would get given like an extra one. Like this one was an extra one from nah, I don't think it was this guy. Let me find that card, because he gave me a card for that. I think it was that Pokemon Dan. I think it was this guy right there. I said, hey, like if I did these 3 slabs for a certain price, would you guys be okay with that? And he's like, yeah, what are you doing it for? And I told him I'd give them away for kids at shows, the ones I vend at, and he's like, here, go ahead, have this one too. Another table, I was looking at these 2 and told him what I was doing it for, and he's like, hey, you know what, I'll give you instead of it being $20, he said $15, and I'll throw in an extra one for free. So I really appreciate when other vendors do that, because it's really about the kids, making sure that they are having a good time and enjoying themselves, because when we are long gone, years from now, the hobby's gonna have to fall on them. And if they can't have access to cool things, whether it's getting cards at a store or just a random card given to them by a stranger that they'll hold on to for years and remember, hey, at that one show I went to, this guy gave me a free graded card. And it's the memories and the nostalgia that's going to keep this hobby going. So we have to do better as vendors to make sure the kids are having a good time. I'm not saying break the bank, right? Like I'm not out here spending hundreds of dollars on slabs to give away for free, right? They're $15 or less. A lot of times they're way less than that. And sometimes people just give them to me in collections I buy, or vendors, they give me an extra one and I'm buying a couple of them. So as vendors, we got to do better and make sure it's a good hobby for everyone. All right, guys, thanks for having the card show car conversations, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.